Coming up tonight in news, the F&M accuses the government of dropping the ball before and after Hurricane Matthew's passage.
Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Paul Maynard predicts that power might be restored to 100% of New Providence by the end of the month. That story straight ahead.
Plus, why some New Providence residents will feel the heat for a few more days.
The Minister of Education announces when students can expect to be returned to school. That's coming up straight ahead.
Welcome to our news. I'm Dana Smith. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight. The Christie administration dropped the ball with its response to Hurricane Matthew, according to opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who at a press conference today criticized the government on many fronts relating to the Category 4 storm.
I was not impressed. I thought the government had dropped the ball and dealing with the storm.
Minnis charged, although the government knew a storm was coming, it did not take adequate precautionary measures.
How can you, afterward, be asking for trucks, volunteers, etc.? All of that should have been done in advance. You knew the storm was coming, you knew the strength of the storm, you knew the potential damage, you knew what was going to happen to the south.
And with police reporting hundreds of people had to be evacuated from their homes in the midst of the storm, Minnis accused the government of not doing enough to ensure evacuations. He echoed the Prime Minister's comment that mandatory evacuations is something his government would consider.
But it's essential to move them out of the danger zone and place them in safety. The government was not aggressive enough to deal with that.
Minnis also took issue with the absurdly long lines at service stations across New Providence, all sparked by a mere social media rumor that the country was running out of fuel.
What could have happened? We could have had a disaster. We could have had riots. We could have had people getting killed. And the Prime Minister sat idly by and had not come early forth to the nation and inform the nation that there was not a problem with gas in the country.
And with thousands of Bahamians still wondering when the lights will come on at their homes, Minnis also criticized Bahamas Power and Light for being slow in its efforts to restore power supply. He believes the Bahamas Electricity Corporation would have done it a lot quicker.
Yesterday you would have seen so many bucket trucks moving around by BEC and its staff. They were very, very aggressive in getting the electricity back on. I think it appears to me a lot slower than the former BEC.
Minnis also questioned the involvement of Labor and National Insurance Minister Shane Gibson in restoration efforts and vowed the F&M will closely monitor how the government spends relief money.
And we will be vigilant about this, and we will be on top of the PLP like white on rice. We will not allow them to waste the public's money.
About 50% of residents and businesses in New Providence are still without electricity as a result of the destruction that Hurricane Matthew left behind last week. According to President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Paul Maynard, it could take up to 2 weeks for the island to be fully restored if Bahamas Power and Light follows the proper protocol. And if not, then residents may be without power for much longer. Simone Davis has the details in this report.
As hundreds of frustrated BPL customers continue to endure long days and nights without electricity, President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Paul Maynard, suggested today that he's not pleased with the company's efforts to restore power to the entire island. Maynard said he believes this is the slowest power restoration effort he has ever witnessed in New Providence, adding that if BPL doesn't get it together, then residents may be without electricity for another month.
It's the worst I've seen it. It's just a coordination problem, and once they tweak it and get it properly, and if they follow the plan, it's a plan you got to follow. And once they follow the plan, 2 weeks everyone should be up if they follow the plan. If they don't, God help us all.
He also insinuated that BPL officials restored electricity to family and friends before getting to the general public.
The coordinators, they got favorites, the church pastor, this one, the next one. It is what it is. This is what happens. And so, they put them on first.
Now, as you can see, workers are working diligently to get the power lines up and running in New Providence. But Maynard admitted that they do encounter major issues and waste a lot of time when they have to stop what they're doing to cut down trees that are in the way.
Now, we're not supposed to be cutting trees. If it was like the last time storms happened, we usually when we come in, everything's already cut, or we can just pull up. Get us out of here. Put your supply and get out of here. Now we got to waste time cutting trees. We've been cutting this tree now for over an hour, trying to get it out of the way of our line so we can pull the line up. And that's the problem. It's not coordinated properly.
The union president said more workers should be deployed throughout New Providence to ensure that electricity is restored much faster. Additionally, Maynard said BPL workers should have spent more time getting the lights on than assessing.
While you send some people out assessing, you got to start doing stuff, getting these main roads on. That's what you're supposed to do. It's okay to do assessments, but you got people who can drive around a car and do assessments. You should have had crews instead of assessing. They should have been putting on as they go along. Going on the main road, if the road could be put up, put it on. If you have to do light things, if you have to do little things to put on, put it on. And we would have been further ahead right now.
Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
50% of customers on New Providence are still without power as Bahamas Power and Light seeks to have all New Providence customers restored by the end of the week. Christina McNeil joins me in studio with the latest.
Thanks, Dana. Well, thousands of New Providence residents are still without power days after Hurricane Matthew. BPL CEO Pamela Hill says there's still a lot of work to be done before all customers can be restored.
I know that we still have a number of customers that are down. We now have, in terms of actual number of customers restored, approximately 45 to 50,000 out of the 80,000 residential customers that we have here in New Providence. So we expect towards the end of the week to be more like, at a minimum, 2/3 or higher of our customers to be restored.
Hill says all of BPL's resources have been put toward restoring power to those still living in darkness. That includes ensuring that all downed trees and power lines are cleared.
All of our primary substations are up and running. Most of our generation is now back online. So we have our focus on our bucket trucks, ensuring that they are all out and available, ensuring that all of our line crews are out and being deployed. That's here in New Providence, at having their team come right to our command center, report in for work, and work hand in hand with us in order to clear the trees.
Although more than half of customers on New Providence have had their supply reestablished, Hill notes that there may be isolated incidents where residents find they are the only ones in their neighborhood without power. She says there are steps to remedy that.
First thing is to call us so that we are aware of it, can make sure to prioritize having a line tied back in to that house, because I know how very frustrating it is to see lights all around you and still be one of the rare ones that is still without power. So we're working to make sure that we swoop back in to address those pockets as well.
Outside of New Providence, Hill says teams are also focused on Central and North Andros, which were devastated by Hurricane Matthew. Back to you, Dana.
Well, thanks, Christina. Hurricane relief efforts are underway as founder of Chick Charney Children, Nicoya Lightborn, along with Head Knowles, organized a hurricane relief effort to assist those islands impacted by Hurricane Matthew last week. Lightborn, who is stationed at the Airport Industrial Park, said her team is currently collecting donations to send to the islands, North Andros in particular.
We've now moved to his warehouse in the Airport Industrial Park, and we're now accepting donations. We will be for the remainder of probably the next 2 weeks. Young's Fine Line just dropped off on another pallet of water. We have boxes from Darville Packaging. What we're really doing right now is trying to get our logistics in order. One of our biggest issues was communicating with North Andros because there was no cell phone coverage. Thank you to the hardworking members of BTC who've been roughing it along with the citizens of North Andros to get their services back. So now that we can communicate, we went down yesterday, put a storage facility in place, put a ground team in place. We're asking for trucking. That was our biggest issue.
Meantime, boxes and supplies are stacked at the Bahamas Red Cross as officials say they are committed to catering to islands affected by Hurricane Matthew, such as Grand Bahama, New Providence, and North Andros. All of this while keeping its commitment to continue to serve those 5 islands devastated by Hurricane Joaquin 1 year ago.
We also we sort of overwhelmed. We have Grand Bahama is our focus, Andros is our focus, New Providence is our focus. With Joaquin, the focus was on the 5 islands, and so NASA could have gone and we could have sent stuff in, but we ourselves were strong. Nassau is what we call, we need to attend to those in Nassau as well. So it's like an effect where you have damages, persons on your team has damages at home in a personal capacity, but we're trying. Even our building, we lost the front porch. We had a lot of down power lines. We have the roof damage, but we must press on.
Red Cross officials are in the process of packing food items, toiletries, and bed padding to send to those islands starting tomorrow. Residents in New Providence who are in need of food or necessities can also go to the Bahamas Red Cross for assistance. There will not be any school for public school students in affected islands, such as New Providence and Grand Bahama, for another week or so, according to the Minister of Education. The green light will be given to contractors by tomorrow to mobilize repairs, but some schools will have to be completely relocated. Giorgio Stirrup reports.
Most schools aren't expected to be open until Monday, but schools like C.I. Gibson won't be open anytime soon due to extensive damage to the school's roof.
4 of our schools in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and North Andros sustained severe damages. The extent of the damages to those schools will require medium to long-term plans to address those, and we are now in the process of making alternative arrangements for the administrators, staff, and students of those schools to identify a suitable place to accommodate them in the interim. These schools are C.I. Gibson Senior High in New Providence, Bartlett Hill and Lewis Yard Primary in Grand Bahama, and Low Sound Primary in North Andros.
Many public schools still have no power supply, according to Fitzgerald, who says schools will be quickly assessed and officials are working closely with the Bahamas Power and Light to determine if it is safe to have power restored.
We're very concerned with regard to water damage and also ensuring that the electrical facilities in all of our schools are to a state where they can take the main power supply when it's cut on.
Public schools will no longer have midterm break or professional development day this month to make up for missed school days. Custodial staff are asked to return to work as soon as possible, while teachers are to return to work by Thursday. The Education Minister says they will update the public by Friday on whether schools will reopen on Monday.
As a result of what I have said, there will be no schools for the remainder of this week in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and North Andros.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Stirrup.
Police need your help in investigating the death of a man discovered in waters off Potters Key Dock Sunday evening. Police say shortly after 7 p.m., the body was found floating near the dock. Reports are the body was retrieved from the water by a local resident and pronounced dead at the scene. Police were unable to provide details of the victim's identity. An autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. Still to come on our news, how restoration efforts are going on Grand Bahama and North Andros. Plus, Bamsey's banana crops take a hit during the storm. That's coming up when our news returns.